Before we begin, can I ask you something? Have you ever stayed awake worrying about money? Wondering how things will work out, how the bills will get paid, how you'll provide for yourself or your family? If so, you're not alone. Financial pressure can weigh heavily on the heart. But before fear takes over your thoughts, take a moment to remember, God is still your provider. Maybe that's exactly what you need to hear today. Not that every problem will disappear overnight, but that God sees every need you carry, every concern, every burden, every prayer you've whispered about your finances. Philippians 4 says, greater than, and my God will supply all your needs according to his riches and glory. And that promise is still true today. So wherever you are right now, take a deep breath. This is not a moment to panic. This is a moment to place your worries into God's hands, because financial challenges may be real, but God's provision is real too. And as we continue, let's talk about what it means to trust him, even when the future feels uncertain. One of the hardest parts of financial struggles is the uncertainty, not knowing what will happen next, not knowing where the solution will come from. And when answers don't appear quickly, fear often begins filling the empty spaces. But fear has a way of making problems look bigger than they really are. Faith reminds us that God is bigger still. Throughout the Bible, God provided for people in situations that seemed impossible, not always in the way they expected, not always in the timing they wanted, but again and again he proved faithful. And perhaps today the challenge is not simply about money. Perhaps it's about learning to trust that God is still working, even while you're waiting. That doesn't mean we stop being responsible, that we keep working. We keep planning, that we keep making wise decisions. But we stop carrying the weight of the future as if everything depends entirely on us. Because some burdens were never meant to be carried alone. And God invites us to bring those burdens to him. And maybe someone listening right now feels embarrassed by their financial situation, ashamed of the debt, ashamed of the struggle, ashamed that things haven't worked out the way they hoped. But hear this, your financial challenge does not define your value. Your worth is not determined by a bank account, a paycheck, or a season of difficulty. God's love for you has never depended on those things. Jesus said in Matthew 6, look at the birds of the air. Your heavenly Father feeds them. That doesn't mean life will always be easy, but it does remind us that we are not forgotten. The God who knows every detail of creation also knows every need in your life, every bill, every concern, every prayer you've prayed asking for provision and direction. So today, instead of allowing fear to control the future, choose faith. Not faith that ignores reality, but faith that believes God can open doors you cannot see yet. Faith that believes he can provide opportunities, wisdom, favor, and guidance exactly when they are needed. Because even in seasons of financial uncertainty, God remains faithful. But there is another kind of victory that often comes before financial victory. Peace. Because many people spend their days trapped in worry, constantly thinking about what could go wrong, constantly carrying tomorrow's burdens before tomorrow even arrives. And over time, that worry becomes heavier than the financial problem itself. Philippians 4 says, greater than, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, present your requests to God. What a powerful invitation. Not to carry everything alone, but not to solve every problem by yourself, but to bring every concern before God and trust Him with what you cannot control. That is where peace begins. And perhaps right now, God is asking you to do exactly that. To stop staring at the size of the problem and start remembering the size of your God. The same God who has carried you through difficult seasons before. The same God who has provided in unexpected ways. The same God who is still able to make a way forward, even when you cannot yet see it. As we begin bringing this message toward a close, remember that financial victory is not only about having more, it's also about living with confidence that God will continue leading you one step at a time. Because true security is not found in money alone, but it is found in knowing that your life is in God's hands, and His hands have never failed. Maybe the breakthrough you're praying for is already closer than you realize. Perhaps God is opening a door, preparing an opportunity, connecting you with the right people, giving you wisdom for a decision that will matter in the days ahead. Just because you cannot see everything happening doesn't mean God is doing nothing. He is often working in ways we only understand later. So hold on to hope. Keep praying. Keep making wise choices. Keep trusting God's guidance. And whenever fear tries to convince you that nothing will change, remember this. Your current financial situation is a chapter, not the entire story. God is still your provider. God is still your guide. And God is still working in your life. Before this message ends, take a moment and release your financial worries into God's hands. The bills, the uncertainty, the pressure you've been carrying quietly. You were never meant to live every day controlled by fear about the future. God sees your needs, and He cares about every detail of your life far more than you realize. Jesus reminded us in Matthew 6, "Your heavenly Father knows that you need them." What a comforting truth. Before you ask, He knows. Before you worry, He knows. Before you lose sleep over tomorrow, He knows. And the God who knows your needs is also the God who is able to provide, guide, and sustain you through every season. So if you remember one thing from this message, let it be this. Do not let financial fear become greater than your faith. Keep trusting. Keep praying. Keep moving forward one step at a time, because God's provision is not limited by your circumstances. And even if the breakthrough has not arrived yet, God is still making a way. Your story is not over. Your victory is still being written. And your provider is still on the throne. God bless you.